Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Terry Morrow. Say hi, Terry.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Terry and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. So this week, we continued our Good Place watch with Help is Other People, and also we jumped back into West Wing with the episode 2 weeks out. But first, Dancing with the Stars. So Dancing with the Stars, boy bands and girl groups, and like each dance felt like it was 30 seconds long.
It really did. They were very short.
And yet they still filled up 2 hours with 12 dances. I'm not sure how they did. I mean, I am sure because they do it every week, but I don't know. It just seemed like if you're down to 6 couples, even if there's 2 dances each, they didn't have to be that short.
One wouldn't think. I guess they were trying to be easy on them, not to make them have to learn really long dances,
right.
But
I don't know.
It did seem odd. And it didn't seem to be excessively fillery either.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I can't pinpoint where they did all their filling.
I feel like possibly the judges bloviated even for longer than usual.
Yes.
Well, of course, the standout occurrence of tonight is that they finally found a way to get rid of Sean.
Yes.
So, I know people have been upset that he was on in the first place and that he's been staying on, but I gotta give him kudos for being a really good sport all the way through. He was positive, he was standing in the back cheering for people, he was there to do what one does while one is there, and I think that other people might have been a lot more sulky after the kind of judges' beatings he got week after week. But, it was past time for him to go, but I think he acquitted himself well. Not that means anything to the people who didn't want him there, but now that he's gone, now that our long national nightmare of having Sean Spicer on Dancing with the Stars is over, can we talk about the egregious overscoring of Allie? What the heck? Do you think she's that good? Am I missing it? It seems like she's just kind of moving through it. I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing
that kind of excellence flair that I expect for tens.
Right, the 10s across the board. It's like, well, really?
Over and over and over again, 10s across the board. So, I mean, conspiratorially, I would say she's not getting the votes, so they have to keep giving her the super high scores to keep her on. But why now? Why are we keeping her on? It's really annoying, I think.
Yeah.
I think Kate was better than her. I think Hannah sometimes is, sometimes isn't. James absolutely is. It's like Allie's second dance, they busted James for just doing boy band moves and not doing anything in hold or in partnership. Allie's was just a girl group dance. She was just jumping around. Yeah. And not as well as he did his, I thought. And she gets all 10s. And everybody thinks that she's so wonderful. What is the difference?
I didn't see one. No difference for me.
Once in a while, throw the girls some 10s, sure. But two 40s. Yeah. And her stuff didn't look good to me. I mean, everybody sees their own thing. But this is the sort of thing that when people are upset about voters keeping in dancers they don't like, the thing that always gets said is the judges' scores need to count for more. The judges need to have more influence. And I look at a night like tonight and I said, no, they don't. Because I don't trust them. And I know a lot of people don't. It's like if there's not one of these situations where there's somebody staying in with votes, then people are talking about the judges have their favorite pros and the judges have the fix-in for somebody. So there's always going to be, if the person you don't like isn't getting the scores you want, there's always something. So that's going to be in my bonnet now. I like Sasha. It would be nice for Sasha to get a mirror ball, sure, but I just don't get it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They could give her all 9s and that even would be too much, but at least it wouldn't be quite so.
Just egregious. Yeah.
Yes, that's the best word I can think for it. Aye. Stop it.
Well, what else? Joey Fatone with his formal shorts that he was wearing. I didn't understand that much. And I guess I actually missed when he split when they split his pants, but
he did quite a jump in the opening number.
Yeah, I don't know what I was
that must have been it.
Doing at that moment
You could probably go back and watch it on YouTube, but I sure do like watching James dance.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's got it in him to win this thing.
That'd be awesome.
Because the judges don't seem determined to give him much help.
Right.
But he's just fun.
Yeah, and he's also just so likable, and he seems like genuinely into it and, proud of himself when he does.
Right, he does. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think he's, and he's just really enjoyable to watch. So I don't understand the scores he's getting, but okay. He doesn't seem too upset. He seems to be taking it in stride.
Yes. Definitely.
So, but I thought, watching it tonight, I thought really everybody has made a lot of improvement. Mm-hmm. And I think they all had an opportunity to show it. Even Sean has made an improvement. I thought the 2 dances he did tonight were probably the best he had done and bore some resemblance to dances rather than kind of walking around. He was doing some steps.
A little bit.
Yeah, which is, improvement.
Yeah.
So, I thought everybody is doing, it's really kind of a nice group. Mm-hmm. I think that they all seem to be happy with each other and they seem to be coming along well. So I don't know where it goes from here. People that I like are going to be eliminated. But really, I would be, I guess, unhappy if Allie won. But, not really, because Sasha. I like Sasha. Good for Sasha.
That will be
He and Emma can have matching mirror balls.
Right.
That'd be great.
That'll be your consolation.
Or alternatively, she could have 2 and loan him 1.
Yeah, that works.
I'll go for that.
Okay, so The Good Place, Help Is Other People, ended with a real cliffhanger of the sort that you typically find in a season finale or, right before Christmas or something.
Yes, so pointed out the people on the Good Place podcast who were all, most shows would do this then, but not us, which was another one of those episodes.
Yes, but aren't
we the coolest?
Definitely something that this show does. That other shows don't, I think.
Yes, but that this show has done before.
Yes.
I don't feel like they can keep doing the, wow, look at that. You wouldn't see that on a regular TV show when they do the same thing over and over again.
Right.
It's like the first time, yeah. But I had the feeling about this the same, I think, as I did was it season 2 where they just ran through a whole bunch of repeats?
Yeah,
in like
reboots,
an episode.
Yes.
And I think I said then that I felt like I wanted to see this stuff play out. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to just see it go by like that. And this season has been like, this many months have passed. And again, this many months have passed. And it's like, whoa, but
right.
I guess it's, aren't you edgy to be doing this in the middle of a season? But that's because I would like to have the whole season to do this.
Right.
So, it seems weird that we're now at the end of the experiment when we really didn't get to see all that much of it.
Yeah. And in the last episode, not only was it sort of this strange bottle type of episode, but they just said, and 6 months have passed.
Yes. And then again, more passed for this one. And I don't think that we really saw that much growth from the characters, but we only saw them like, how many times did we see them? Not that much. So it's like, you just have to, as I feel like I say every time we talk about this season, just got to have faith that I'm going to like where it ends up.
Right.
And then I'll go back and watch this and I'll say, this was such a great piece of the trip towards that thing.
Right.
But I'm not enjoying it as much on an episode-by-episode basis as I felt like I have in the past. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because our Soul Squad is sort of not as much front and center in them.
Right.
Or not having as good a time. I don't know. It's just seems to be missing something to me.
Mm-hmm.
but I still feel like it could come out in the end to be, part of it may just be dread.
Right.
So, okay.
Yes. Although I did enjoy Eleanor doing her version of Michael's evil laugh.
Yes, that was fun. That was a fun moment. I enjoyed that. And as I think they also mentioned on the podcast, folks look good in tuxedos. Yes. And how
tuxedo in a can.
A female version of tuxedo in a can. Oh, time for the wedding? Okay. Pop it open. Out we go. But the only, we didn't talk about this last week because I think we shared our mutual expectation of it after we had already recorded. But if the thing from the end of the previous episode,
a chip driver mystery.
A chip driver mystery where bad Janet was in this cell, and at the end, Michael gives her this book. If that turns out to have something in it that features at the end that in some way, infects or neutralizes the bad place or changes people's minds in some way or has any significance at all, I will be very happy. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I will really resent that chunk of time.
Right.
And, hopefully things from each of these episodes are going to figure in.
Right.
And what did you think? Were you happy with it? Would you...
This particular episode?
Yeah. Were you like, wow, this is, here we are at this moment that we've been waiting for not enough weeks.
Yeah. Well, I
wonder what's going to happen.
I was surprised that this is where we were,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden we're on the last day.
Yeah.
So yes, that definitely surprised me, but it also felt like this is part of the way this show does things.
True. It is.
So I don't know. And I liked Simone just kind of like figuring stuff out. And
yeah. Well, just as the original crew did the first time.
Yes.
She was the Eleanor of that group, figuring stuff out.
And, maybe they sort of glossed through it because they didn't want to repeat as much of seasons 1 and 2 as it kind of feels like they're doing here.
I guess. Maybe. I mean, this is like where I can see things paying off again towards the end.
Right.
But as of right now, I'm not finding it very satisfying.
Right.
But we'll trust. I also do not buy Chidi and Simone calling each other Muffin and Ducky, but okay.
No. That sounded very weird.
That was they were just throwing around nicknames in the writing room and just threw a dart at two of them, I think.
Yeah, but usually they're so much better at that kind of thing.
Yes. I think they could have done better. I think they needed to strive a little on that one.
Right.
Megan Amram must have been out of the room.
Yeah.
Because she would have come up with something much punnier than that.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah. It's like we gotta just keep on keeping the faith.
Keeping the faith. It's funny, I've been listening to a podcast that's been made in honor of the 15th anniversary of Lost.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's a critic who wrote a lot about Lost, and it's somebody else who had like a fan site about Lost, and they're talking about the whole phenomenon of fans kind of taking ownership of something and being upset if it didn't go the way they wanted, and how different fans attached themselves to different parts of it. Some people really liked the mystery. Some people were really interested in the people. And that if it didn't follow, if your particular thing didn't win out in the end, you hated it. And that they both really loved the way it ended, as I did too. I liked the series very much, but certainly you could see these different fandoms spouting up. And I'm trying not to be that kind of fan with The Good Place. I'm not trying to be the person, but I like to see the original four doing exactly what they've done all show. They're where I care about. I don't care about the sun. Trying to be a good fan and just say, I put myself in your hands, Mike Shore. I trust that you will get me where I want to go. But we'll see.
Please
but I'm not going to be
don't let me down.
I want those years of my life back that I watched this thing because I don't like the way they ended it. It's been a good ride. It's been a good ride. Even the episodes that I'm less satisfied always have some amusing things in them. And the performances are always super good.
Yes.
Anyway.
For sure. Well, Well, let's move on to The West Wing. It was an episode called 2 Weeks Out, which, as they made a big deal of on the podcast, the show made a big deal of explaining that they meant it was 14 days before Election Day. That's what we're talking about when we say 2 weeks out. Just FYI. So anyway, it was obviously a big campaign episode. There was pretty much no White House anything, right? Except for Toby being on the phone as suddenly he's like the secret weapon of the Santos campaign advisor.
Yeah.
Right.
Although his advice, though good, turned out to maybe not be so good.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly just kind of nice to see him again.
Yes.
In very tight close-ups. He probably phoned it in from somewhere.
Yes.
No, don't come in.
We don't need you. Just take
We don't need you to stir up any trouble.
We're sending you a camcorder in the mail. Just set it up in the corner of your apartment and film yourself. Oh, well.
But anyway, so there was a lot of campaign strategizing and
there was
back and forth about if they're doing this, then we need to do that. If they're not doing this, then we can't do that. And all that kind of trying to predict what the other guy is doing and respond to it in the best way. And of course, everybody is, freaking out at this point because it's so close and Santos has surged unexpectedly and Vinnick is falling. So they're both kind of trying to manage what's going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's funny when I thought back on this, when it came up, in my memory, the episode was all about the briefcase. That was the entire plot of it. In fact, it really wasn't introduced till about halfway in, and it was before that just all about campaign stuff. Right. And I also remember it as being when Santos gives his explanation, that was absolutely the explanation. I didn't remember Vinnick doubting it, and the people on the West Wing Weekly podcast also felt there was some doubt. So maybe I'm just somebody who takes Santos at his word. I don't know. It was. I enjoyed all the plot machinations regarding how a campaign is run and how you do. Horrible staffing of Santos to leave the man's briefcase behind. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Get a grip. Yeah.
Heads should roll for that.
Right. And I believed him. Again, maybe I'm like you, just disposed to believe him, but. They had already introduced the brother as a real lowlife.
Yes.
So it was quite easy to believe that.
Right. And I mean, in my memory, it was like, you don't want to leak this because when the truth comes out, it will make you look super bad to have done this because it's obviously, if that is indeed the truth, it puts him in somewhat of a good light. And it also makes somebody who would try to make pay out of this look bad.
Right. And, there's a kid involved.
That's what I was thinking the whole time, too. You're going to make this kid who is completely innocent and maybe knows nothing about this.
Right.
It's suddenly going to be a huge thing and kind of mess her life up hugely.
Right.
Nobody, specifically mentioned that part of it.
No. But that's what I thought about.
Yeah.
This poor child. Let's not bring it, make her life miserable.
Yeah. So in my memory, that was sort of why Vinnick let it drop, but obviously he had sort of let it drop before then, but, ethically,
it felt
opening
like
up somebody's briefcase seems pretty iffy, too. Yeah,
I mean, once you figured out, this belongs to Santos, then that's when you stop.
Right.
Right. Which I think it feels like that's what Vinnick would have done if he personally was the one who found it.
Right.
And then for a while I was like, well, is this all like Bruno secretly working for the Democrats the whole time? He wants to make Vinnick look bad by making him be the one
that's an interesting take.
Lets this out. I mean, I don't really think so, but for a minute there I was going down that path.
Yeah, that's an interesting path. So do you think if Josh had found Vinnick's briefcase, if he would have looked in it? Probably would have.
He probably would have.
Lou definitely would have.
Yeah. I mean, I think it certainly would be very hard to resist, like, especially once you figured out, it is theirs. It is that person's. But I feel like Vinnick himself, and even Santos, they both seem like very ethical that they wouldn't do that. But that doesn't mean their staff wouldn't do it.
Exactly. Or, a member of the press finds it.
Yeah.
Some muckraker. Yep. Yeah. The essential thing here is to not lose the briefcase. And if the briefcase gets lost, to send a little bit more of a flare-up than, sending the Keystone cops out to find it. But
also, maybe, like they said, I forget if this was in the episode or in the podcast, but, like, maybe don't write this stuff down.
Right. Or maybe have a briefcase with a lock.
Yeah.
What the heck, man? Especially if you know what's in, that stuff in there could be damaging.
Mm-hmm.
Lock it. Why would you not lock it? That's what I couldn't understand, that he could just open it.
Yeah.
It's not like he had to get out a screwdriver and, or hire some lock cracker to get the combination. He just opened the thing.
Yeah.
I dropped it and it fell open, basically. So that's, and I also would have thought that if Santos knows what's in there, I mean, there was some discussion on the podcast as to whether he was when he was upset that it was missing, whether he was thinking of what was in it or not. But I would have liked him to call Josh and say, hey, my briefcase is missing. There is potentially damaging stuff in that.
Right.
Can we step up looking for this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And not just, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's, some blackmailer could find, any number of, cleaning person can find it and give it to their, somebody they know who's a bad guy. And then you have a problem there too.
Right.
So that seems like you want to put you want to have the Secret Service looking for it and questioning people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh, well. But I don't think it's mentioned again in the rest of the show. So, spoiler.
Really? Wow.
I don't think.
Well,
I could be wrong.
I felt like it was kind of cliffhanger-y the way they left it.
Yeah.
That, of Vinnick sort of implying, like, you really need to say something about this.
Yeah. It's entirely possible that there is, because obviously I'm not remembering things 100% correctly. And it's also very possible that it might have been something that they would do if John Spencer hadn't passed, and that sort of changed some of the course of it.
Yeah, true.
Because, not spoiling, because I don't necessarily know what the deal was with that, but it's not a plot that you want to be having this huge scandal and then, oh, by the way, this person died, we have to have a funeral for him. It sort of like takes away from your scandal, or it makes everything else look kind of skeevy. So,
right.
I don't know, but I'm just as glad because, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to just believe that both of these guys are good and the one guy is telling the truth and the other guy did the upright thing by not making hay out of it, and let's just move on.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and as they said, they kind of didn't even need it because they had, especially if they're not going to do anything with it afterwards.
Yes.
They had plenty with the whole just battling over the state of California and the sort of behind the scenes strategy stuff that was going on. They didn't really need. Yeah. Another.
Yeah. If that press conference had gone differently, maybe he would have made a different decision.
Mm-hmm. True.
And maybe it would have bitten him in the butt. We don't know.
We'll never know. Next week, we'll continue with the Dancing with the Stars semifinals. We thought maybe we were going to wrap this whole thing up, but no, there's 2 more left.
Yes. We were maybe overly optimistic in our last episode as to how close we were. So we'll watch Dancing with the Stars, the next episode of The Good Place, which is called The Funeral to End All Funerals, and as well the West Wing Weekly episode, Welcome to Wherever You Are. Which sounds like it could be the title of A Good Place episode. It could, absolutely. And possibly a Dancing with the Stars episode. And that's going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday.
As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Bye, Terry.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye, everyone.